Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. My name is Jen. This is going to be your weekly check-in for January 5th through to the 11th. These normally come out on Thursdays. I'm still getting over this nasty cold that I came down with over the holidays. So I apologize. I'm getting this to you as soon as I possibly could. For those of you that are new here, we do tarot it's supposed to be every Thursday. And then we do monthlies as well. I do have one-on-ones available. If that's something you're interested in, you can message me and just check the description box below. These are general readings, and every sign will be timestamped, so you can just jump to the reading if you don't want to listen to me and my voice drone on. Otherwise, we do a universal message that applies to each of the 12 zodiac signs, which I will do now. And then in your reading, we will see how that manifests itself for you, okay? But for now, oh, that just came right out of there. 8 of Pentacles. I love that for the new year. Actually, I love that for this week. The moon, okay, in the shadow. Yeah, so 8 of Pentacles, we're hard at work, right? So I don't know if anyone has any New Year's resolutions or goals for the year, or priorities, right, that they want to focus on, things that they want to make happen for the new year. So it feels like with this 8 of Pentacles, we're starting off from a good place overall, and I really do enjoy that. The moon, the tower, King of Wands in the shadow. Oh, that's lovely. So, you know what? This could be 2025. We're putting 2025 behind us here. Or it could be this idea of we're fearful of things not going our way or things not going according to plan, right? So like the perceived fear of a tower disrupting our hard work, right? So interesting. The universe is like, just got to keep you on your toes. Anyway, that's what I have for the universal message. I'll see you at your sign. Let's go ahead and get started. Aries, hello. How was your new year? Let me know in the comments what you did to celebrate. I hope you had a great time. Let's get into it and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Show me Aries, please. Thank you. 5 of Swords, Queen of Pentacles in the shadow here. Interesting. So some sort of conflict, or we're just feeling, perhaps even just feeling irritable or triggered is what I heard. You're feeling triggered this week. Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, Page of Wands, 3 of Swords in the shadow. Yeah, it makes sense that you're kind of feeling irritable here. And you're aware of that. We have the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups, being practical about how we're feeling. So it could be that you're feeling this way, but you're aware of it, but you're not necessarily getting it out, allowing it to dominate your week. You're just feeling a little annoyed. Let's get some clarifiers for Aries, please. That Fool wants to pop out. Okay. Just taking a look in the shadow as I do. It feels like you want to do something differently or try something differently here. So again, like I said, we are feeling a little bit annoyed or irritable here, or there's some sort of conflict, but I don't feel like you're letting that, it's not like you're not engaging in it. To clarify that 5 of Swords, And I'm sorry if I said wands. I'm still a little, and even on a good day, I'm a little, so bear with me. King of Pentacles, Four of Swords, Ten of Swords, King of Wands, Seven of Cups, the Lovers, Three of Pentacles here. Yeah, so it definitely feels like you're being grounded. You're trying to focus here, and this could be as it relates to work, right? Or like a financial decision here. You're taking your time. Perhaps for some of you, you're changing your mind on something, okay? And trying to see your way through to a new thing, or trying to focus on perhaps even seeing the world differently, or trying to interact in the world a little bit differently here, especially with that Lovers and the Three of Pentacles here. It's almost this idea of there's an idea or the ideal of how you perhaps want this week to go, want to see your life headed, right? We just came out of the new year, so we have big ideas for 2026, and it feels like you're showing me we don't want to get caught up in this kind of conflict or this irritable feeling. We have a vision for how we want 2026 to go, and this kind of vibe doesn't fit in that vision. So we want to maneuver in a way that we can make sure that we're setting the tone properly for the 2026 that you want to have, Aries, right? So very much showing maneuvering in a way that you want to, and really letting something go. And again, like I said, perhaps changing your mind on something here. Any final thoughts for Aries? Queen of Cups and the Hermit in the shadow there. Yeah, so definitely knowing, right, that Queen of Cups is now popping into final thoughts. So this idea of knowing your boundaries, knowing your limits, or at least becoming aware of them, right? I do feel like, well, a lot of the signs did show me that there's a lot of work that they want to do kind of inside themselves, right, in 2026 here. So really transform, really bloom in a different way. And Aries, it feels like you're no different here. Showing up with this Queen of Cups, it really does kind of set the tone, or at least reaffirm your priority that you want to make sure you're doing things that are right for you, doing things that are of purpose, and within the intention that you set for 2026, right? And so it feels like this kind of vibe, this Five of Swords, doesn't really fit in that vibe of what you're trying to move forward in, and how the perspective you're trying to have. You know that with the Hermit energy. And we're trying to move on, right? We're trying to grow. And so I see that for you very much. You're starting off with a bang, and I love it. Aries, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you as always, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Leo, hello. How are you? Let's get right into it and see what the week of January 5th has in store. Show me Leo, please. King of Pentacles, Hierophant. Alrighty, we're being very structured, very rigid, it feels like, especially with that Eight of Pentacles, right? We're hard at work. You're putting something behind you here in a very nice way. You've made a decision, and you're kind of saying like, I'm done, I'm over it, and I'm really open to what's next here. It could be even a new partnership, new relationship here. But I do see you finally letting go of something, and finally is intentional. It feels like whatever kind of has been lingering here, you're kind of saying, I am done, and I am truly done. So I see that energy kind of walking out here. We're being very intentional. We're being very deliberate, very rigid in our, very structured, I should say. Rigid doesn't sound right. Structured, very structured in what we're doing here. Leo, I love this for you. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers. One more. Thank you. All right. Okay, not the clarifiers I was expecting to see, but that's tarot for you. I'm just going to go ahead and peek in your shadow. All right, so your shadow here is telling me kind of the same thing as well. Yeah, just this idea of we're taking stock here. We're seeing things as they really are. So with this moon energy here, it feels like there's no illusions here, or you're facing those illusions, facing fears, facing kind of the unknown here. And moving on or moving away, something along those lines. Okay, coming into your clarifiers here with the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords, or 10 of Wands, Ace of Cups, Page of Cups in the reverse, Empress, and the 2 of Wands in the reverse as well. So I can see why the Hierophant card is showing up, because it feels like it's you really have to work for being diligent. You have to work for being kind of on task, is kind of what I'm seeing here for you. It's not what you're trying to make happen this week, and what you're trying to make happen perhaps in 2026 is something that is not, it doesn't feel like it comes super easy, or it feels like it's really like one of those things that takes a bit to get used to, right? And it could even be like waking up a half hour early. Like, I love my sleep, so for me to wake up like a minute before I'm normally used to getting up is like a big deal, right? So it could even be something like that, where it's like it's just kind of a struggle, but we're on it. We're being diligent. We're really working towards you know, waking up a half hour early, right? And so that's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. It's like frustrating, it's annoying, but it's like something that we know that we need to do in order to be the version of ourselves and prioritize the goals that we have in mind for 2026, right? So that I'm kind of seeing here for you. I think what you're trying to put in place is more than waking up a half hour early, especially with this Ace of Cups showing up right in the center. There's an emotional connection here, right? So this is something that feels very profound to you in a way, Leo. And so I see we're really taking steps forward to make this happen, right? And to work at it. Page of Cups in reverse, I would just say, you know, maybe there's some people or there's some part of you that is like, doesn't want to do this, which again, makes sense. But that's why you're being diligent. That's why you're being so kind of routine about things, task by task by task. Page of Cups in the reverse, I do just have to issue a caution. You know, typically when that shows up in the reverse, somebody's trying to tempt you, or somebody is trying to deceive you. So just be on the lookout for that. Or somebody, it could even be, is trying to, it could be like the universe's way of a test, right? The universe is positioning somebody up on your path here to kind of sway you to kind of break this routine that you're trying to make, break this habit here. And you know, and it feels like, again, that moon or that sun coming out, you might even be aware of this or kind of see that coming, which is why you're trying to be so diligent on what it is that you're doing here, right? The Empress, yeah, just really being loving and enjoying the moment here, enjoying this process, or at least trying to. Or it could be that this person is trying to say like, oh, come on, have some fun. Oh, you only live once. Oh, this, kind of tempting you a little bit. And so it's just, are you going to take the bait in that way, right? And 2 of Wands with reverse, that's kind of, it feels like this is all kind of tying in to each other here. Okay, let's go ahead and get some final thoughts. I commend your effort this week, Leo. With that Eight of Pentacles, it does feel like you are truly working at it. And it's something that's not really coming easy to you, at least for right now. Yeah, the Sun and Four of Pentacles here. So again, that idea of kind of wanting to hunker down. Hierophant in reverse. Interesting. And again, this idea of we want what this routine can provide for us, but we're not necessarily enjoying this process right now, right? Which is why maybe this energy feels so tempting. But with the Sun, again, there's an awareness here. There's a clarity here. There's also kind of a general rebirth that what I'm seeing, we want to change, especially with that Magician coming through, right? We want what this effort is bringing us. And maybe it's not bringing us anything right now, but we know down the road it will. And so that's where you're focused, right? You're focused on the long term. And I love that. You're starting off again with a bang. Another fire sign starting off with a bang. I love it. Leo, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you as always. We'll see you next time. You take care. Sagittarius, hello. Let's get right into it and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Show me Sagittarius, please. Oh. All right. So King of Wands here. Love that. Yeah, so that Tower, right? Huh. So I wonder if for you that Tower is coming. Some sort of disruption here. And I wonder if you are aware of that coming. Right? And this idea that you'll have to take charge in some way. Yeah, I wonder if you don't feel that coming, Sagittarius. Your immediate clarifier is the Knight of Swords and the Star. It's almost like this is rushing towards you. Like, I wonder if this is somebody else's star coming to you, or if there's an ushering in of a new star. Interesting. Let's go ahead and clarify for Sagittarius, please. Interesting. Okay. I'm just going to take a look in the shadow. So there's a desire to move on or move away from something here, which again makes sense, right? Because we're like so close to, like, we're so new in 2026 that it makes sense that we want to move on from some things, right? Especially if you set goals or priorities for 2026. So it's not like the strangest thing in the world that like, you want to move on. I'm wondering if this is like letting go of personal things that have been holding you back. Yeah, it feels like personal things that have been holding you back. That are the focus here, Sagittarius. Coming into your clarifiers, I just want to make sure we can see them all. Yes, we can. Page of Cups, Justice, Knight of Cups, Ten of Wands, King of Wands in the reverse, which is interesting. Ace of Cups, Nine of Pentacles here. Again, this idea of wanting to move forward and have some reflection here. Take some time to understand the work that you want to do. So yes, a lot of the signs are working on like deeply personal work, and trying to transform. I feel like with this King of Wands in reverse here, trying to put an end to something that is, you no longer want to be a part of your character, right? So if you're, for example, and this is just an example, like maybe very quick to judge others, right? Or quick to lose your temper in a given situation, right? Perhaps we're trying to put an end to that. And that's what I'm seeing here with this this 10 of Wands, King of Wands in reverse. It's like we're trying to facilitate an ending here. We've made a decision, a conscious decision of trying to put this to bed, right? Trying to take this away from our king, take this away from ourselves to be our highest and greatest good, right? And then Ace of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, without this thing and kind of maneuvering in a way that we take this away essentially from our king, which is kind of how you're showing me this here, will feel better. We'll feel more secure. We'll feel more stable. We'll feel happier, lighter, right? Even though, yes, we have all of our things, we'll feel lighter without that component of that with us. With this Knight of Swords and the Star, it's interesting because this doesn't really match up with this. I'm just struggling to find the connection here. It could be, like I said on the outset, it could be that somebody is trying to bring about a new potential goal, potential star for you, or it could be just the quick usherance of this star and you trying to take hold of that and make it work, right? And it could be either or for different, different Sagittarius. So just take it how it resonates here. It could be that somebody's helping with this, but not like in a, you haven't not in a formal way. Not in a formal way. You're not seeking out help. It's just, this is kind of happening kind of idea. And again, with the Eight of Pentacles here, showing up very diligent, very hard at work, trying to make sure that we're putting an end to what it is that we want to put an end to in order to make sure that we're moving forward in the right way. Sagittarius, let's go ahead and see if there's any final thoughts here for you. Six of Pentacles. Queen of Swords here. So again, that idea of this knowing, Temperance. There you are. 10 of Wands. So we're wanting to put an end to something here. I just keep going and going and going. We're wanting to put an end to something here, and it does feel like it is personal to you. It is something that is in your character here, that you no longer want to be a part of where you stand, right? And being very deliberate about that, being very focused, very intentional, which again makes sense. Six of Pentacles showing up here. You're working hard at adjusting your priorities, being conscious. It does feel like of what you're giving to, how you're giving, how much you're giving, at what time, right? Like very deliberate, very intentional here. And it could be that that is making way for another star to come through. Okay. Very interesting reading. Very interesting. Either way, you're showing up hard at work here, and it feels like you are making room for some sort of tower that is coming. It feels like that there's some sort of disruption headed your way, and you're trying to make sure you're operating from your best self in order to properly handle that tower to the best of your ability. Sagittarius, good for you. Showing up again, another fire sign showing up with a bang. I love it. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time. You take care. Capricorn, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see. Happy birthday as well. Let me know in the comments if you're celebrating your birthday this week and what you plan on doing. Yeah, I wish you a happy birthday. I've been putting it in the chapters, but I haven't actually been saying it. I apologize. So happy birthday. All right, let's go ahead and see. It just flew right out of there, didn't they? It's pretty great. All right, Queen of Swords and the Devil. So you are showing up here. I love that. And then we have that Nine of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles in the shadow here. I'm just going to use my handy dandy. I don't know if you've seen me pull this out before, but I do pull it out from time to time. 2 nines. Receipt. So a receipt is coming. Something is coming your way for sure. Some sort of, I wonder if that's some sort of knowing or some sort of proof of something for you here. If you need it, it will be coming for you this week, Capricorn. So that's really nice. Nine of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, and Ace of Pentacles in the shadow here. Yeah, so a little bit of getting in our own head here. Perhaps thinking of, overthinking all the ways this could go wrong, but really trying to enjoy where you are. And that Three of Swords peeking through here too, it kind of feels like there's like this lingering kind of ick that's there. But we're really trying our best to move forward and move on from that here. Coming into your cards that you actually pulled out and popped out quite deliberately here, Queen of Swords and the Devil. Some sort of new some sort of new wisdom here, or new lesson has been learned, and it's you're showing up. It just feels deeply impactful for you here. So let's go ahead and get some clarifiers. That Ace of Cups has shown up for just about every single sign so far. What else here, Capricorn? Thank you. All right, so the Moon showing up twice here. King of Wands as well has been a big one, which makes sense, right? We're at the start of a new year. We want to be showing up for a lot of us. I just messed up my hair. For a lot of us, I am having issue today. For a lot of us, we set intentions, or at least priorities, goals in mind for 2026, right? And so it does make sense that that King of Wands is showing up somewhere, someplace in these first couple weeks, because we are fired up. We want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and at least being intentional about where we're directing our energy for the new year, right? So again, that makes sense. Not too surprised to see it. That Tower keeps showing up here. And I'm wondering if for you it's the illusion of a tower. Right? This idea of preparing for the worst or fearing the worst, right? Especially with that Nine of Swords showing up here. Yeah, it kind of feels like there's some sort of fear here, and this is breaking it down a little bit more. There's some sort of fear, but we're doing our best to take control of our thought, of our mind, and listen to our intuition to make sure that we're actually discerning or trying to discern fear from fact here, okay? Coming into your clarifiers, you have the Six of Pentacles, Three of Cups, Seven of Cups, Ace of Cups, Page of Cups, Emperor, and Three of Pentacles. So, yeah, I mean, you're here, you're present, emotional as well. There's a strong emotional component to your reading this week. So I just want to make sure that we are acknowledging that. Eight of Pentacles, hard at work, and it feels like, I just heard hard at work, keeping your emotions in check. I find that funny. I think that's you saying that, like your energy saying, oh, I gotta like tone it down or whatever. But it's like, no, like let yourself enjoy whatever it is that you're enjoying, right? There's some, you know, with that 3 of Cups, the 7 of Cups here, Ace of Cups. But again, it's just there's a lot that you're feeling this week. And overall, it does feel good. And it's, again, like that, keep your emotions in check. That feels like 9 of Swords thinking, right? Like, let's enjoy this. Let's be in the moment of it. Let's feel these feels and not feel the fear that's associated with it, or at least if we do feel that coming up, how do we work through that, right? And that's, again, kind of speaking on what I'm seeing here. So that 6 of Pentacles showing up again. Like, what are we giving our energy to? What are we giving our time to? How much time are we spending in that joy, in that celebration, in that feel-good kind of vibe, right? That we can feel with close friends and loved ones. 7 of Cups here, you know, this idea of getting too far into those emotions could be a concern, right? This idea of fantasizing reality or romanticizing reality as opposed to just living in it, getting carried away, could be that aspect of what you're kind of saying. Keep your emotions in check. But really, I think the overall point for you this week is really just to give attention to the joy that you're feeling, the overall good vibes that you're feeling here, and really embrace that. The Emperor and 3 of Pentacles, you're taking control for sure in a new way, it feels. And, you know, it feels like you're moving more heart-centered, which is really nice to see. So it's like, yes, I acknowledge that this is here, right? We have the moon showing up twice. So clearly it is here. Clearly there's some sort of doubt, fear, illusion, something like that we're working on. But again, 8 of Pentacles showing up for you, right? As that universal message, we're working on it. We're working through it. And we're letting that joy come through and take place. So this Queen of Swords lesson here, it feels like, yes, it's a hard lesson, but it's a hard lesson to embrace your joy is kind of what I'm seeing here. So it's like, you're like, oh, I gotta be like, you're being stern about it, but it's actually a time of, you know, just enjoyment, which is interesting presentation. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. 2 of Wands, and again, that Queen of Swords coming through as well. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords, Justice. Yeah, so again, it's just this theme, right, of facing our fears, what's holding us back, the doubts that we have, right? Is this too good to be true? Is the other shoe going to drop? You know, I'm spending too much time, I'm indulging my feelings too much. I should be doing this, right? Those kind of things that take us out of the moment and out of that joy. So yeah, I see that there. And the 2 of Wands just really speaking on where are we going to focus our energy, right? Keeping in mind that King of Wands is presenting in one way or another in these shadows here. How are we directing our energy? Where do we want it to go, right? And again, what's that saying? You are what you think, right? You are what you think. So if you're going to think that you're something, that's what you're going to be, right? So where are we directing our energy? How do we want that? Who do we want to be, right? And so it feels like that's very top of mind for you, and you're doing a great job. So far, so good here. I love it. Capricorn, this is what I have for you heading into this week. I wish you all the very best, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Taurus, hello. Let's jump right in here and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. All right. 10 of Swords and that 2 of Wands in the shadow here. Temperance, Page, Emperor. All right, so you're trying to make something happen here. Trying to maybe be more imbalanced, be more in harmony, and really taking this seriously. So it feels like you're trying to maybe be a little bit more diplomatic than what you have been in past. And trying to see all sides, or at least consider more sides than what you have been previously. 10 of Swords here showing up for you. Maybe something happened that we feel we have to be more diplomatic here. 10 of Swords. I mean, this feels like just ripping the Band-Aid. Whether you're doing the ripping or somebody else is, I don't know. But this very much feels like we're ripping the Band-Aid off here. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers. Yeah. All right. Show me Taurus, please. All right, so when I did the universal message, we had the moon and the tower was right behind it. So for some signs, I did say that this could be a perceived tower. For you here, I'm wondering if this ripping the Band-Aid is the tower for you this week. And Taurus, you're just starting the new year with a bang, my friend. With a bang. I'm wondering if I kind of see two paths here. So I'm wondering if like being more diplomatic is what you intended. It's either being, and for different of you, it could resonate differently. So for some of you, it could be that being diplomatic and kind of seeing all sides and being a little bit more diplomatic in how you show up and how you exert your power here. It could be that was the priority in 2026 and then something happens and we just kind of revert back to, or we just kind of take control and kind of dominate here. Or it could be the reverse of that, right? That you're just kind of taking control and dominating the situation, and then this tower happens and you end up being a little bit more diplomatic based on how this tower unfolded, right? Take it as it resonates. Either way, I do see this tower moment kind of coming for you sooner rather than later here, Taurus. Coming into your clarifiers, I've got a lot of cups going on. A lot of cups going on, and I will say, so we have the 5. You're here. And also it feels like your shadow side is here, right? Especially with that amount of Scorpio energy showing up. But let's get into it. 5 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, King of Cups in reverse, the Hermit, 6 of Cups here, Page of Pentacles, and the 7 of Swords in reverse. So it feels like you're going into a space where you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know how to orient yourself here. And maybe you're being a little irrational. I'm just saying. And you're aware of that. Maybe this kind of level of awareness has already taken place. We're like, we don't want to be like this. I'm wondering, like, it feels like there's an illusion or a fantasy that you want to be reality and you're upset. It's almost like what I'm seeing here is like you're lashing out at other people, or even lashing out at yourself, or not lashing out, but you're angry or upset that the reality is not matching up like the fantasy. And I feel like Libra really struggles with this. So it's interesting for you to be showing me this, because I feel like Taurus, you're always, or for the most part, very practical. So it's interesting that this is coming up, but it is. Over here with the Six of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords in reverse, I wonder if you know that it's irrational how you're feeling. You're like, yeah, obviously, like, you know, reality isn't going to match my fantasy. Like, my ideal isn't going to be what, like, really happens, right? So I wonder if you know that and you're trying to move forward in a more grounded way, a more practical way, a place of a more heart-centered way. Which again, it's interesting because Capricorn had that come up as well, just a little bit different of a presentation. I wonder if somebody has called some of you out on you, like, you know, some sort of argument of like, oh, you expect me to be this perfect person, or you expect the job to always be perfect. You know, and I'm wondering if that's the Tower and they're ripping that band-aid off. And you're like, no, I know what to expect. I'm a realist, right? But then you're kind of like, oh, shoot, like, I kind of was expecting whatever from this, right? I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, is this idea that there's this urge or draw or pattern of kind of being so like in control, so like rigid in certain things, and we're trying to change that based on this Ten of Swords and this Tower coming up here. And moving forward, how do we be more heart focused? How do we give more from a place of love and maybe even for some of you vulnerability, right? And so the kind of standoffish, guarded, kind of I'm going to dominate comes from a space of I don't want to be vulnerable, right? But either way, to tie it all back in, a band-aid is being ripped. Knight of Pentacles, King of Swords here, Five of Cups. Yeah, it feels like there's some sort of acceptance here of something that wasn't working, right? And either you called yourself out on it, somebody else called you out on it, and it's like, okay, how do we move forward from this, right? Where do we want to be? How do we want to live? Where do we want to focus our attention here, right? And again, just taking that knowing, adapting that knowing, and being that best version of ourselves, right? Moving forward in earnest. Taurus, a little bit of a hiccup here for you in 2026. So soon. But, you know, you're taking it like a champ. You really are. You're like, okay, and what? Let's figure it out. And I love that. So, Taurus, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Virgo, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. So we're focused on the long term here, which does make sense, right? We just entered into 2026, and so it feels like you're trying to move forward in the best way possible, or at least trying to strategize or see, right? Long term, and think of what we're doing overall for the year ahead and beyond. Love that. The World. Okay. Okay. I see you, Virgo. Wow. going to be a 4? No, okay. I was going to say, are we going to get all major arcana cards here? Is that the kind of vibe you're trying to give me here? All right. Just taking a look in your shadow here. Yeah, so it feels like you're evaluating the good, bad, and the ugly here, and kind of saying, okay, like what parts of my, what pillars am I going to take forward into this year? What's going to fit? What's not, right? Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly, for sure. Who am I going to be? How am I going to be in 2026, right? And so you're focused on your priorities here, right? You're focused on your foundations, your fundamentals here. The Queen of Cups, I am leaving on her side. And we'll just move this over a little bit so we can see them all. Your Page of Pentacles is clarified beautifully by the World, High Priestess, Strength, 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, 10 of Wands, and the Queen of Cups on her side, okay? So 8 of Pentacles, yeah, you're hard at work, right? And I feel like your hard at work is different from the other interpretations. So this idea of, you know, 8 of Pentacles is very much a Virgo card, focusing on the task at hand. So even if you're not busy with, not to say that you're not busy, but even if you're not busy, like engrossed in work, like perhaps a lot of the other signs are, you're hard at work inside. You're hard at work on prioritizing what should be your focus and what shouldn't be, right? And analyzing, like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly, to make sure what are we moving forward with and what are we leaving behind, right? So very much top of mind for you is that kind of vibe here. Yeah, the World, major endings, right? We're closing some major loops here, which again makes sense. You're really trying to make the most of this new year, of this new beginning, in a sense, listening to yourself, making sure that you have the courage to stand up for things that really matter to you, putting your best foot forward. Like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly here, and trying to make sure that we're giving attention to what fits and what doesn't. It does seem with that 5 of Wands showing up that a good part of it is how you're showing up and who you're interacting with, how you're interacting, how much you're interacting, right? Just at least showing up to the party seems to be of importance for you, okay? At least for this week, but I do feel like just in general, right? And so perhaps for some of you, you're showing up a little differently, you're engaging a little differently. Perhaps for others, you're a little bit more open, right? And you know, just really trying to, again, show up in the best way possible, and only bringing into the new year what matters. 10 of Wands, Queen of Cups on her side. 10 of Wands, right? Bringing things to an end, which again just makes sense. Like we're closing out some major loops here. You're putting down, it feels like, things that don't matter. And not that they don't matter, I feel like that's too harsh. Things that aren't yours to carry, right? Which again makes sense. What are we leaving behind? We are only, it's almost like, Virgo, you did a mental exercise where you said, if I only had a suitcase to bring with me into 2026, or not even a suitcase, sorry. If I only had a carry-on to bring with me, one carry-on, one bag, what am I bringing in that bag into 2026? And it feels like that's what you're trying, that's the mindset that you're trying to work with as we head into the new year here. So again, that 10 of Wands really speaks on the challenge to only pick certain items that are going to fit in that one carry-on bag, right? But you're doing that, and it's important, right? It feels very important, especially with these 3 major arcana cards coming right out of the gate, speaking to personal wisdom, trusting our intuition, trusting where we stand, trusting our perseverance, right? Showing up for ourselves when nobody else will, not relying on anybody else because we have everything we need inside of us, and closing major loops that do not fit in our carry-on bag. Queen of Cups on its side. It feels like there's a question, and this does make sense with that kind of self-editing process here of, are we being Are we being fair to ourselves? Practical, honest, listening to our intuition. Are we trusting ourselves to know what should go in that cup and what shouldn't? Or are we being too rigid? Are we being too cutthroat? Are we being too lenient? Right? So the Queen of Cups showing up on her side, it feels like you're unsure. As much as you feel, or as much as you want to feel this way, there's this doubt, right? Which again makes sense with that moon energy, right? But you're not letting that stop you. You're still moving forward in the best way that you can be, right? You just might be hesitating a little bit. Like, am I going to take my red lipstick, or am I going to take my mauve lipstick? You know what I mean? Like, which one are we going to do? And so you might be hesitating a little bit longer than you would like, and you're like, do I need zero lipstick then? Like, I don't get it. But you're still doing it, right? And so it feels like, again, that Eight of Pentacles, you might not be busy holding a whole bunch of tangible things in your hands, but you're really doing that mental work in terms of what fits and what doesn't for you, Virgo. Anything else? Anything else here? Okay, we've got two. Let's see. King of Cups, the World. So if the Queen of Cups is showing up on her side, at least take solace in the fact that the King of Cups is showing up right side up, as well as the World, right? This idea of you are holding yourself emotionally accountable. You are being emotionally aware. You are listening to yourself, right? Listening to that intuition, listening to your body, listening to your instincts here, and being practical, or at least open-minded, right? To discern, okay, what fits, what doesn't. You're Marie Kondoing your purse or your carry-on, right? And that's great. And yeah, so the King of Cups with the World, yeah, we are closing some major loops here. You are listening to your body. You're opening some major doors, and that's beautiful, right? The King of Cups with the King of Pentacles, we're being grounded and practical, but still listening to ourselves, and that's beautiful, beautiful energy here. Three of Pentacles, the idea or the urge to start something new here, or to engage in a different and exciting way. Virgo, this is beautiful energy here for you. It feels very pure, honest, raw, open, and I love it. I love this week for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. You're looking good. So far, so good. I'll see you next time. You take care. Libra, hello. How are you? Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Five of Pentacles and the Six of Wands in the shadow here. So you're trying to move on. Move forward, I would say. You're trying to move forward. Maybe for some of you, continue on. And some sort of major loop is wanting to close for you, with that World card showing up a little bit in the back of your shadow there. Five of Pentacles here. Yeah. Wanting to move on. Not super keen on the Five of Pentacles showing up this early in 2026, but here we are. I don't know if you hear the cat. He's probably going to try to come in soon. Yeah, I'm just feeling like cold, like the cold shoulder. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers here. Okay, interesting. I'm like, there's no swords. There's no swords. There's no swords. At the very end, what do we get? Ace of Swords. Wow. Exclusively Wand and Pentacle energy here. Just taking a look in the shadow. So this feels like letting go. This is moving forward, maybe putting your best foot forward here. And this is letting go. Perhaps the desire to let go, the want to let go, but not sure how to do it in execution here. Interesting. The Emperor, 10 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Page of Wands, 3 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, Ace of Swords here. So you seem very optimistic, despite that 5 of Pentacles being your card showing up for the week, Libra. So that feels good. Initially, I was thinking, and it feels like, who gave you the cold shoulder? Something where like something happened, but it feels like you're turning whatever happened into a positive here. And for some of you, even you could be choosing to be out in the metaphorical cold instead of where you were previously, right? So take it as it resonates, Libra, but I do see this wanting to put your best foot forward, wanting to move on here, let go, and perhaps maybe for some of you, this was a final attempt of doing something and now you're ready to let go. But with that 10 of Pentacles energy, it does feel like a cycle is completing, as well with that World card in that shadow here. And then with the Fool, obviously, you know, just all of those signs pointing to letting go, moving on. And so that's really lovely here. The 2 pages, I actually really enjoy this here. It feels like you're grounded in where you're focusing your energy here, but you are fired up and ready to seek out something else here, or put your energy towards something. It doesn't feel new. You feel new, or you feel renewed. And so it's like your priorities might not be different, but you feel different in how you're approaching your priorities, okay? And where you're giving your time to, where you're giving your energy to. It feels like there's a like a groundedness, a practicality that's here with you showing up, or Ace of Swords showing up here. This idea of something new is coming to the surface for you, Libra, or you're approaching something in a new and different way. 10 of Swords in the reverse, and that 7 of Cups here. So 10 of Swords in the reverse. You know, I'm getting ego death here. I'm getting ego death. So for some of you, you might be resistant to that. For that, some of you, you might be trying to make that happen, or you think that's happened. And that's what this 5 of Pentacles is speaking on. for the majority of the collective, I am kind of getting this resistance to that ego death a little bit. But, you know, you let me know and see here. 7 of Cups, 3 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Yeah, there's definitely this emphasis on approaching things in from a new standpoint, from a new perspective here. And with that 8 of Pentacles universal message here in the moon, it does feel like we're working hard at it. With the moon here, it feels like illusion for sure with that 7 of Cups coming through. But it also feels like this, almost like a limitation a little bit. So you look very good and open and grounded and ready to go, right? Yeah, we're moving, we're changing, we're grooving. It's good, it's good, it's good. But there's some part of what's happening here that I sense a little bit of resistance to, or sense a little bit of we want to ride this wave and move forward and put our best foot forward only to a certain point, to a certain limit. And so that's kind of showing up here. So take that as it resonates. You know what I mean? It could be a very small, minor thing here, but it is here. 8 of Pentacles, you're working hard, right? You're working hard to, it does feel, embrace this more practical mindset, which is amazing. And it's allowing you to see how you're organizing your life and how you're organizing your time, your energy, your effort here, I think, in a different way. And that's really lovely. So you're starting off really grounded, which is really lovely to see, Libra. And even if you are a little bit resistant here, it does feel like you're open to some serious change and willing to put your best foot forward as we enter into 2026. So I love that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. You take care, and we'll see you next time. Aquarius, hello. Let's get right into it and see what we can see. Oh, oh, that's too many. Too many. I was like, 2 I'll do. 3, no. Let's see what we can see for the week of January 5th, please. Okay. Knight of Wands. All right, so you're fired up, which is good. I like that. 8 of Cups, Page of Wands, Page of Swords here, Ace of Wands, and that moon. So you're fired up, you're energetic for sure, but it feels like there's, you want to be a little bit more deliberate about where your night is going, where you're expending your energy, how you're expending your energy, what you're putting your best efforts towards, right? And it feels like you're doing this in a bit of a different way. Maybe thinking differently, maybe trying to be a little bit more non-reactive. Something about this is new for you here. Something about this night is new for you, Aquarius. And that 8 of Pentacles matching with that 8 of Cups. You're focused on it, right? Even if it is a little bit outside of your comfort zone here. Let's get some clarifiers. Let's get some clarifiers for Aquarius, please. Okay. Hello, hello. All right. Too many. All right, I'm just taking a look at the shadow. Yeah, again, King of Wands. All right, so just in your shadow here, we go to the 7, to the 8 of Cups, to the 9 of Swords, to Judgment here. So yes, there is a progression. You're being a little bit more structured, a little bit more diligent. and perhaps it's because this is a new way of directing your energy here, or you're just being deliberate in general, a little bit more conscious of the process of thinking into action. Okay, Aquarius. And so that's why I'm seeing, so maybe it's not a new night, but it's just an extra layer of being deliberate or being intentional that I'm picking up on as you enter into 2026. So while you feel a little bit doubtful, a little bit, oh, what's the word? The word is not coming to me. Like a little bit doubtful. Like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but it's not going to lead anywhere. It's not going to do anything different kind of idea. You're showing up kind of a bit like that, or I'm kind of getting that vibe. But you're still going through the steps. You're still doing the process nevertheless here, and you are progressing through a cycle, right? And so this kind of state of being a little bit extra intentional here, a little bit extra mindful is important. And it's showing up as being important for you, at least for this week, Aquarius. Okay, coming into your clarifiers, we have the Page of Wands. We have the Three of Swords, Page of Pentacles in the reverse, the Star, you, Four of Pentacles, Justice in the reverse, and Eight of Swords in the reverse here. And that Two of Pentacles, like I said, in the shadow here. So yeah, just really... I'm seeing the intention, and it could be that you're putting, juggling things and putting end to things that, like, making room for yourself here, clearing up the clutter a little bit as we head into this week here. Just being aware of things that are making you uncomfortable and trying to get rid of them. Yeah, it feels like you're trying to get rid of some things that make you uncomfortable here, feel uncomfortable, or feel like they don't fit, feel like you've outgrown them, maybe. It could be that you're feeling like you've outgrown where you are, outgrowing, certain parts of yourself, or certain aspects, certain relationships, certain people, certain habits, right? And so we're kind of saying, okay, this doesn't fit anymore. I'm kind of getting this idea of I feel a little bit claustrophobic in where I am, and so I need to move on. I want to keep what matters and keep what's close to me, keep what's important, but anything else I no longer have use for, right? So with Justice in reverse, we're kind of saying, okay, we're done with this, and we're releasing anything that doesn't fit. So that's really lovely here. And again, that does kind of speak to the mindfulness here. So that Eight of Pentacles, in terms of your universal message, Aquarius, I feel like I'm skipping, but I feel like you're keeping up with me. With that Eight of Pentacles, it feels like you are hard at work here, but not so much busy, but just you're hard at work being intentional and being mindful about what is taking up your space, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, right? As well as, well, no, I did say physically, just kind of on all aspects here. And so that really does make sense. So you're moving on in a way, and just being super focused, super in the moment of, okay, here I am. This thing is now requiring my attention. Do I feed this thing or do I get rid of this thing, right? And that kind of idea. So we're releasing what doesn't serve, which is really lovely, right? So you're fired up about this, but in a way of being mindful and present and putting, prioritizing is what I would say. You're using your energy to prioritize this week. And that's really lovely. Let's see anything else here for Aquarius. Keep showing me 3 cards. Do you have any clear and concise messages for Aquarius, please? Thank you. 8 of Wands. and the 10 of Pentacles here. Yeah, so again, this idea of closing out some loops here, right? Again, what I saw with the 7, the 8, the 9, and we do have that 10 there as well. This idea of moving on, moving forward, and closing out some loops that do not fit us anymore. That 8 of Wands, so it does speak on moving forward, this forward momentum, trajectory, right? But in this representation here, it does feel like the home. So focusing on the home, which could mean focusing on what matters, focusing your energy inward, focusing on curating your foundation, your focal point, right? The bones that make you who you are. And it feels like that's important this week. It is important work, and it feels like it's setting the tone for you. This work is important. It's setting the tone for how you're going to move forward in 2026. And I did just realize here we have the 8 of Cups, the 8 of Wands, and that 8 of Pentacles. So I am just going to pull out my guy and just see for 3 8s. Marriage. Wow. So for some of you, marriage could be the priority. Marriage could be a proposal, could be coming. It could be marriage to new ideas. Even, right? A marriage to a new, a commitment, right? To how you want to show up in 2026, and you're taking that commitment very seriously. Aquarius, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. You're looking good, and it's great to see. We'll see you next time. You take care. Gemini, hello. Let's get right into it and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Thank you. I like this. 3 of Swords in reverse and that 10 of Pentacles in the shadow here. I love that. Wow. Turning that frown upside down. Wow. In the best way possible. You're closing out some major hoops. You're closing out some major loops here in this week, or at least that's the goal. And with that Queen of Wands and Judgment in the shadow here, you're really trying to be deliberate and consistent on what it is that you're doing here. Intentional is the name of the game here, but really turning that frown upside down. And Gemini, I really do love that. Let's go ahead and see. Huh. Okay. One more here. That's too many. Oh, that's too many. Interesting. So maybe I spoke too soon about turning the frown upside down here. Maybe that's the intention. Maybe we want to be turning our frown upside down. Let's see. All right. We've got, I'm just going to take a look on your shadow. Yeah, your shadow looks great. It's like you're grounded, determined, intentional about which direction you're headed, putting your best foot forward here, and really just showing up like in it, right? You're showing up, taking charge, taking control of yourself, and being deliberate about where it is that you're headed here. Coming into your clarifiers, we have that 8 of Wands. I just felt a pinch. So perhaps there's something holding you back here. And with that moon energy, I'm wondering if it's there's some sort of unperceived fear or something that you just can't shake. Something you just can't shake. But you want to let go. You want to turn that frown upside down. Coming back into your clarifiers here, we have the 8 of, and for some of you, this could be true, like actual pain, right? And we want to put this pain behind us, like bodily pain, but it keeps coming and keeps recurring here. And now, finally, 8 of Wands in the reverse, 10 of Wands, 3 of Wands in the reverse, the Moon, Knight of Wands, 4 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles, which is that universal message. And then we have the Fool and the 7 of Wands, both in the reverse. So, yeah, it feels like there is some desire here to turn that frown upside down, to move on here, but there's also, it's almost like there's something keeping us here. There's something keeping us where we are, not moving. And I'm wondering if it's that moon element, this idea of being fearful of what's out there, fearful of almost like this idea of the pain that we know is more manageable than the pain that we don't know. Right? By stepping outside of our comfort zone and or doing the hard thing or stepping into some sort of new space, right? And so I do feel that there's a desire to move, right? Because the 8 of Wands, they still say the same message. It's just a matter of your willingness to take that on. That desire is still there. 10 of Wands, that ending, right? But still, while something is ending, we're still not open to we're still not open to what's next or what we want to be open to, right? There's still like a bit of a guarded. I'm wondering if maybe even some of your chakras are blocked. And that's really kind of holding you back from doing this work that you want to do or showing up in the way of kind of really letting go and moving on, which feels like it is your desire here. So with the moon, yeah, it just feels like everything kind of stops at the moon, like our fear is there. Knight of Wands, 4 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles. You're working hard, right? You're showing up determined on what it is that you're trying to make happen here, but it does feel very much for you like that moon is holding you back, those fears, those illusions or the disillusions, right? It's kind of like we're letting fear win in this moment or in this week here, and perhaps for some of you, even with that Knight of Pentacles showing up, it's like that. And there's this desire to release that, right? We want to release it, but maybe we're not quite there yet, and that's what we're working on. And, maybe this week is about clarity for you, Gemini, bringing up the idea or listening to that idea of the moon. Because if you look at it, the moon is at the heart of your week, the heart of your clarifiers here, fear. And so it's almost like we're bringing that to the surface. That's to literally the center of the board so that we can talk about it, discuss it. You can feel it. And to start taking steps to release it, right? And so that's kind of what I'm feeling for you, Gemini, this week. Justice and Page of Cups. Yeah, making some decisions, right? Making some decisions, being intentional about it here. Maybe for some of you, even prioritizing joy and fun. Really this idea of wanting to turn that frown upside down. We want that. We want to be happy here. We want to release this pain. It no longer serves, but there's a reason that we're still in it, right? So 7 of Pentacles, we have to prune our garden. We have to figure it out. And perhaps that's what your week is. This week is understanding where that fear is, where it comes from, leaning into it a little bit, right? Which in itself is scary. But we have to figure that out before we can actually release ourselves from it. And so that's the work that I see for you, Gemini, as we head into this week. Okay, you're showing up great, intentional, which is always a plus. Alrighty, thank you so much, Gemini. I appreciate you today and always, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Cancer, hello. Let's get right into it and see what we can see for the week of January 5th through to the 11th, please. Oh, that's not you. This is you. There we go. You're like, excuse me, you don't have my card out, okay? I'm not going to show you anything until you have my card out. Oh, there we go. 3 of Wands. And the Page of Cups here. Just taking a look in that shadow. I'm hearing start fresh in my brain. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm hearing start fresh in my brain. This idea of we want to start fresh, be open to it. In the shadow here, I'm seeing a little bit of acceptance here, a little bit of grief, a little bit of whatever we want to start fresh from is lingering. But we want to start something new, and start it fresh. Perhaps start the new year fresh, right? But there's a general openness with that Three of Wands that feels nice. You're not holding anything back, at least on the outset here. And that's really lovely. Yeah, that Five of Pentacles. I'm not surprised to see that actually come through from the shadow into your clarifiers here, because again, it feels like there's a little bit of something that's lingering for you, Cancer. Let's go ahead here. Yeah. All right. Okay. Just hopping in that shadow really quick. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that feeling is lingering, right? And this is just confirmation of that with that Five of Swords, right? What's like, why are we here? There's a little bit of hesitancy, irritability, like digging our heels in the sand, a little bit like resistance, I would say. But then we have that Fool. No, we want to be light, we want to be free. But then there's that Seven of Swords, again, resistance, right? Seven of Wands, sorry. And then the Two of Swords, that hesitation, right? But we want to be open. Wheel of Fortune, Hanged Man, Two of Wands. This idea of kind of going around and around through this. We want to be open, but only to so much. We close our doors when things get a little too tough, right? There's like a little bit of a lingering something here, that it feels like door open, door closed, door open, door closed. And right now I'm seeing door open, which is lovely. There's like an optimism here. It's like a cautious optimism, I would say. Cancer is what I'm seeing, but it's, we want to move forward, but we're not quite ready to fully let go of what happened in the past. Even it's like we want to, but we don't want to. Like we want to move on, but we don't want to forget it. There's something like that kind of dynamic at play here. And that's what I'm seeing on the board for you. So clarifying that Three of Wands, we have the Five of Pentacles, the King of Cups, Temperance, Five of Cups, Six of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, and the Empress card, along with that Hierophant energy, right? Being structured, being diligent, also being very, I want to say black and white, right? And so this kind of feels like that door open, door closed kind of energy, where it's like we're not leaving room for any gray area. It's either yes or it's no. There's no maybe, right? And so it feels like that energy is kind of blocking the openness overall that you have. Right? It's like there's a route A, there's a route B, but there's no room for C or D or any of the other alphabet, right? It's either one way or no way kind of idea. In your clarifiers here, right, there's a little bit of a struggle that I see, a little bit of like a why does it have to be like this kind of vibe? But again, that struggle we see is kind of overshadowed here, like where this openness is kind of overshadowed by the Hierophant. being like all or nothing, yes or no, right or wrong. In your clarifiers here, I see that kind of hesitancy being overshadowed by King of Cups and Temperance, right? This idea of being the best version of yourself that you can be, holding yourself accountable, and also making room for others to have their opinions, to have their feelings, and not to say that you're being a doormat, because you're not, but being open to hearing other people's perspectives, right? Being open to hearing other answers that might not be yes or no, right? Especially with Temperance coming in and really trying hard to focus on that balance, focus on the harmony that it feels like you're trying to prioritize and you're trying to be open to, right? And then again, we have that Five of Cups, this idea of, okay, we are accepting, the hurt that happened, the pain that happened, what had happened in the past. And we're trying to move forward in a way that closes this ending. So again, it feels like the intention very much is, and it could be for 2026 for you, Cancer, that we want to close out this loop here. We want to look forward and kind of leave the past in the past. But again, I still am kind of getting this idea of forgive, don't forget. And we can be mindful of that, but it feels like we're really not, like we're not quite to the forgive portion of this part, right? And so it feels like you're trying to get there, but we're not quite there yet. Empress coming in and just obviously, being that mother of the tarot, perhaps, whatever this is kind of a deep-seated pain, or it could just be that you need to give yourself a little bit more love, or need to give others a little bit more love, and be mindful of that, right? Be mindful that it's okay to embrace that feminine energy, right? It's okay to be a little bit soft. It's okay to be a little bit bending. It's okay to accept an answer that might be a non-answer, in the moment, right? It's okay to embrace where we are. And it feels like that level of openness is what we're kind of aspiring to. But Cancer, I don't really see you being there quite yet, but you are working on it. Justice. Yeah, making some decisions, right? And this could be, this could have a legal battle. Maybe it didn't go the way that you wanted to. For some of you, maybe it could be a divorce, right? And that might be on the table for you, or you're considering that. But again, it just feels like trying to make the right decision for yourself, make the best decision for you. And you're really trying to move forward in the best way. And I got to give you credit. You know what I mean? Change isn't easy. Moving forward isn't easy. Letting go of things that hurt us, letting go of things that, we felt were wrongs to us, slights to us, right? Is difficult. But again, with that Eight of Pentacles, that universal message here, you're showing up, doing the work, and nobody can fault you for doing the work. You know what I mean? You're here, you're present, and so that's a beautiful thing. Cancer, thank you so much for stopping by. I always enjoy reading for you, and this week is no different. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. You take care. Scorpio, hello. How you doing? Let's get right into it and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. That's too many. Show me Scorpio, please. It's interesting this week. The signs that are normally super chatty are not the signs that have been super chatty this week. Alrighty. 10 of Pentacles and 4 of Swords in the shadow here. It's funny because it was like normally a card will fly out, or you'll give me a card pretty quickly, Scorpio, but today it was kind of like, we're gonna keep this a little close to the vest. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here as well. It's kind of like, we're only going to share what we need to share here. We're working on something, okay? And we're just going to keep it. We're just going to keep it on a need to know. It's like, this is classified. I love that. Okay. Okay. It can stay classified. That's fine. But again, yeah, this idea of, you know, closing something or achieving some sort of goal, right, that you set out to achieve, having endings in mind or goal completion in mind here as we head into this week. Let's go ahead and see what clarifiers we have. Interesting. Like, okay. And then the High Priestess comes out in reverse. And I'm like, okay, I can't. All right, let's take a look in your shadow here. Also, you're not even showing up here. Typically, Scorpio, you show up in your reading. You give me some sort of indication that you're here. And you're kind of like, no. Not today, not this week, my friend. That's funny. You're way back in the back here. Interesting. So you're focused. There's no doubt about it. You feel like you're very much in the present. At least that's what I'm gathering from your shadow here. And you're open. You're open, which is really lovely to see here. And I get this sense of like confident, standing your ground is what I'm feeling for you, Scorpio, here. But let's go into your clarifiers. We have that 7 of Wands in reverse, 5 of Wands in reverse, Queen of Wands right side up, as well as the 5 of Swords, the Star, 7 of Pentacles in reverse, as well as that High Priestess. And there's a little bit of symmetry here as well, which I have to kind of take into account. It feels like you're trying to be even. I just don't know how much of that is working out for you. Okay. I'm wondering if you're trying to be too in control, right? Trying to force something, like I'm like this idea of I'm going to be so open, I'm going so far, or I'm going to stand so tall, I'm going to get, I'm going to be too rigid in that. I'm wondering if there's some sort of aspect of that. Like trying to force the limits, trying to extract every single tiny little thing that you can extract from whatever this success was that you had, to the point that it's excessive. It's like taking a win and trying to like, what is it? Squeeze every single thing that you can out of that win. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. I feel like there could be some So you might just be like feeling in a really good mood this week, Scorpio, but it feels like there's conflict kind of on either side of you, or tension on either side of you. And you're kind of like, I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. There's like conflict to the left, conflict to the right. We're just this idea of like, I don't want to be here kind of idea. Yeah. I don't want to be here. It could even be that we're like, this week might be, you feel like it's a distraction for you. And so we're kind of like clinging to this win of whatever this was. And it's like, oh, can we just like get a little bit more from that? Oh, can we just feel a little bit more? Because where you're sitting or how you're kind of feeling currently, it doesn't feel like it's like the most beneficial place for you to be. And so if we take a look here, it's like the Queen's looking at the star. You're kind of looking at, you know, whatever goals or priorities you have in mind for 2026 and beyond. And it's kind of like we're not, there's some sort of disconnect here. And I thought it was like we're squeezing the win. Maybe you are trying to squeeze that win. But this is what's really keeping my attention here, is that Five of Wands in reverse and the Five of Swords right side up here. It just feels uncomfortable where you are. You don't feel like that Queen doesn't feel well seated. It feels like a lose-lose situation. There we go. So it feels like some aspect of your week this week, Scorpio, is going to be a lose-lose situation. And you're kind of like, why can't we just cling to this win? Why can't I just be back in this good spot? Why do I have to be here? And it could be a lose-lose situation where you feel like no matter what you do, you're not listening to yourself. You're not being true to yourself. You're feeling forced to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, right? Remember, there's this third option. You don't have to do anything at all if you have the means to do it, and it is safe to do so, right? Either way, it just feels like you're a little bit out of your element here. And so it could be that desire to be open or happy, or, you know, that overall joy that you're either feeling or wanting to feel. It could be that we're not experiencing that this week, and so that's why we're clinging so hard to whatever this Ten of Pentacles win was. Four of Swords, Four of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, it just feels like there's a lot happening here. Like you can't keep up. 2 fours is insomnia. 3 fours is a subject of reflection. Okay, so it could be that you're reflecting even on this Ten of Pentacles win, whatever that was, and we're focusing on the ending while in the midst of kind of a perceived lose-lose situation, and we're trying to navigate through to that ending here in the best way possible, right? In the best way that we can. And it just feels like we're not having the best time trying to figure that out this week. Okay, Scorpio. So who else had a little bit of a rough week ahead? There were a couple signs, not all of them, but a couple. Only the most tenacious signs, okay? Only the ones that can persevere the most are the ones that are having, I think Gemini had a not so good week, is how he's having like a challenging week, I'd say. And it feels like, you know, you're really kind of, and again, I feel like this is that part of 2025 where I said in your January check-in that it's not that 2026 is going to be smooth sailing for you, Scorpio. It's just that 2025 was priming you for more to handle these rapid fire challenges and these issues that are coming up in a better way. And it feels like this week is that kind of first taste of that kind of energy where some things are coming at you that you don't really enjoy and kind of feel a little bit maybe even annoying, right? Because you're trying to work hard at making things happen, and this kind of feels like you're in a bit of a lose-lose situation, and you got to kind of navigate it, right, the best way that you can. Four of Swords, Four of Wands, kind of being in the moment, being present, right, and trying to remember what matters. and trying to focus on that. So, and again, it kind of this idea of staying calm in the chaos, right? I feel is important to mention as well. This idea of staying grounded, staying rooted, staying like not letting your, what's happening outside of you affect you and like yourself internally, your being, right? Two of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, you're working hard. You're working hard to be the Scorpio that you want to be, right? And with that universal message here, it just feels like there's some things perhaps outside of you or unknown to you with that moon energy that keep, like it feels like this tower is an actual tower for you, in the sense that, you know, something's kind of throwing you for a loop or throwing you off of the trajectory that you kind of had in mind for 2026. Okay, so Scorpio, that's what I have for you heading into this week. I wish you all the best this week, and always thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Pisces, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of January 5th. Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles. Oof. You are hard at work, my friend. I love that. I love that. Channeling a little bit of your Virgo energy, that shadow energy as well, your sign opposite, right? With that 8, the double 8s here, and then the moon showing up, which is you. So this is really quite lovely. Intentional here. It feels like, look at you, wanting to face the things head on. Doing the rough stuff, right? Focusing on that task at hand. I love that. Pisces, let's go ahead and clarify. Thank you. All right. So, again, kind of for every sign, they've showed me this in one aspect or another, this idea of moving on, moving forward, right? Letting go. And that does make sense, these major themes of letting go in one aspect or another, because we are still so fresh in 2026. So it makes sense that we're focused on priorities, what kind of habits we want to let go of or pick up in 2026, right? So very much this idea of moving on, moving forward, even physically or timeline wise into a new year. That makes sense. But for you, yeah, you're showing me that as well. It's no different. It's like we're putting an end to something and trying to find something new here. And it seems a little bit challenging for you. It seems like you're kind of isolated here, alone. Right? And it could be that you're not alone, Pisces. It could just be like the perception of being alone, the perception of I have to do this on my own kind of idea. And that feels a little bit scary for you, but you're working on it, right? You're working on it. You're very much going through it and saying, I'm doing this hard thing because I need to do it for myself. And that's admirable. Okay. Coming into your clarifiers here, we have the Page of Cups, Four of Cups, Three of Cups, the Star in reverse, which is at the heart of your clarifiers, even though it doesn't look like it. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and Temperance here. So it feels like, you know, yes, there's the emotional component, the water component, right, which is you, but then there is that grounding component, which is really nice, and that is Virgo, right, that shadow self, that practical self of you doing this work. So it's a really nice kind of balance here. And of course with Temperance, rounding out the clarifiers here, it does feel like that is the emphasis. Like, we need to walk through, we need to do this stuff and do what we're doing. Yes, it's hard, but it is necessary because we want harmony, we want balance, we want to feel even, right? And so how do we do that? Well, we look at these kind of things head on and make these changes head on, right? We have to do the work in order to get to where we're headed. And it feels like that's your kind of mindset, Pisces, as we head into this week here. So it feels like, yeah, there's a little bit of engagement here. It feels like with this star in reverse, there's either something unexpected that happened, or you're realizing or finally letting go of a star that no longer suits you. Okay. For some of you as well, I am seeing, and take this as it resonates, please, unexpected pregnancy, okay? But ultimately, again, especially with that star element, something that wasn't expected or planned, but something that ultimately we are considering and starting to work towards. How do we achieve harmony? How do we integrate this into our life, right? Acceptance. And what the future will look like with that. Okay, again, take that as it resonates. That is definitely not for everyone. What is for everyone is this kind of idea that star is either unexpected, or we are releasing or walking away from a star that no longer served us. Okay, either or. For some of you, for some Pisces, it could be one version. For some of you, it's the other. The overall theme is there, okay? This idea of trying to move forward in the best way possible, either picking up this star and making it our own, even though we didn't expect it, or releasing this star, even though we did have some sort of tie to it, and moving forward to be the best version that we can be for ourselves. And I feel like that's the emphasis here. This is very personal, right? Nobody else can kind of do this work that you're doing. Nobody else can maneuver or show up for you, right? You can either take the star or you can move on, right? Either way, it's very deeply personal work in order to achieve your balance, to achieve your harmony, which you're trying so hard and working so hard to do, right? And it feels like you are a little bit out there. You are a little bit exposed. But there is this kind of effort that I see, right? Especially with that Queen of Wands, you're trying to engage. You're trying to literally get back on the horse, right? Trying to prioritize balance, trying to prioritize you in your life. And that is important. It's important. What you're doing is important. You're showing up this week, and that's beautiful. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts. Let's get some final thoughts. There we go. I was like, is one going to pop out or no? Knight of Pentacles. Yeah. So again, this idea, right? Being grounded, seeing things as they are, right? But also being excited about what's next. Perhaps a little bit hopeful, even though this feels a little bit uncomfortable here. Having a plan, right? The excitement of maybe even making a to-do list and checking those things off, right? This idea of having a vision of yourself, wanting to put your best foot forward, be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, and trying to execute on that plan. So that's what I see for you. Yeah, steady momentum, strength, wanting to progress, right? Be happy, feel that fulfillment, and that joy from life, right? And carry that forward in your life in the long haul. Pisces, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love this for you. I love this energy. It's very intentional, and very down to earth. It's amazing. This is what I have for you. Okay. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I always enjoy reading for you. We'll see you next time. You take care.